Okay, so you want to start investing for your children. Great idea, but consider this before you do.
Lightning strikes and then you're gonna know my name.
Starting an investment account for your children, when they're young is awesome. It gives them a head start, and you can start with lower amounts, and over time that will hopefully compound and have growth potential. So when it comes to investing for children, you got to be aware there are different types of accounts that you can use. A couple of those are the UTMA account, which is Uniform Transfer to Minors Act, and the 529 plan. So the UTMA account, you invest on behalf of your child, and it can be used for anything that benefits that child, not just college and educational expenses. Now, with the 529 plan, that is specifically designed for college expenses or private tuition for K through 12. But there are some major differences between these two accounts, and we're going to go over those. But before we do, if we haven't met before, my name is Keith Wilson. I'm a practicing financial advisor here helping folks along their personal finance journey. Okay, let's get into the differences between the UTMA plan and the 529 plan. It really comes down to these items: ownership, taxation, how financial aid is affected, and the investment choices. Now, with the UTMA plan, ownership, it's owned by the child, not you as the parent. So you're the custodian of the account, but they actually use the child's social security number, so they own it. And when they become majority age, and usually that's 18, between 18 and 21, it depends on what state you live in. I'm going to put up a chart of all the states and what the majority age is for each child. So you can take a look at it. If you need to pause, take a look at that, please do so. But once they reach majority age with that UTMA account, it is turned over to them. They can use it however they want. It doesn't have to be college. I mean, it could be hey, I'm going to take this money and head on to California, join a rock band. So you got to keep that in mind. With the 529 plan, you, as the parent, you are the owner, and it's for the benefit of the child. And so it is strictly for education expenses like tuition, room and board, supplies, things like that. And a couple of years ago, they changed the rules. It doesn't have to be just for college. You could use it for private tuition, K through 12. But if you pull money out for any other purposes, then there's going to be some taxes and penalties involved. We'll get to that. So ownership is one thing. Taxation is another. So how are the investments inside an UTMA account taxed? Remember, the child owns it, so any taxes due, and that's going to be from maybe capital gains inside those investments, dividends or interest, that is taxed at the child's rate, which is usually 0%. So that's pretty cool. With the 529 plan, the investment component inside the 529 plan, hey, that grows tax-free. So you as the parent do not pay taxes on it as long as withdrawals coming out are really specifically used for those qualified educational eligible expenses. If not, then you're going to pay a 10% penalty on the gain, and you as the parent are going to pay taxes on that gain. So you got to be aware of that. What about tax deductions? Here's another thing. In some states, 529 plans offer a state tax deduction, not a federal tax deduction, but a state tax deduction for the contributions that you make into that 529 plan. I'm going to put up a chart that lists some of the states that offer that tax deduction. I think there's about 30 states that do, but some do not, so you got to be aware of that. With the UTMA plan, no tax deduction for the contributions you make into that UTMA account, be it federal or state. Now it comes to financial aid status. So here we are, the child's graduating from high school and they're off to college, but maybe there's not enough in these accounts to pay for the full tuition, so they want to apply for financial aid, student loans, things like that. Well, these type of accounts do affect how much they can borrow. In a 529 plan, if that is owned by the parent, financial aid would be reduced by 5.64%. With the UTMA account, that asset is owned by the child. Remember that. And assets owned by the child could reduce their financial aid by 20%. So you have to keep that in mind. Then we get into investment choices. And here's a big difference. I'm going to have to give a check mark to the UTMA plan because when you invest for your child inside an UTMA account, you are pretty much wide open of how you can invest that money. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, even real estate, things like that. So it's very unrestricted of how you can invest the money. With the 529 plan, you are restricted based on what that plan offers. Every state has their own 529 plan. You don't have to purchase a 529 plan in your own state. You can go to another state plan, but it's very much like a 401k where you just have a limited number of choices that you can invest in. So which one's better? It really depends on your particular situation, but here's a way you can invest for your child, not only for college expenses like the 529. The UTMA has more leeway of how you can pull money out as long as it's for the benefit of the child. You may want to consider having both the UTMA and the 529 plan. I hope you got something out of this, some value out of it. If you did, give it a good thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel as we are trying to put out these videos out there helping you along your personal finance journey.